Really fascinating is that our experiences in childhood tend to play a huge role in our lives as adults. So not just psychologically, but also biologically. When we look at the attachment through a nervous system lens, we're not seeing the attachment styles of anxious, avoidant, or disorganized as just attachment styles. When it comes to attachment, what's also important is to know that it's not just about how we relate to another person, but it's also about how we relate to ourselves. When we have secure attachment. Hi, my name is Neha. I am an associate clinical psychologist at Trauma Release and Wellness Center. For today's topic, I will be covering attachment in childhood. We've all heard that, attachment has a lot to do with emotional bond and how we kind of relate to other people, but it's just not that. Attachment has a lot to do with how our nervous system also tends to learn how to navigate safety and connection. And all of that starts in childhood. As soon as we're born, we actually scan the environment for, am I going to be safe? Am I going to be soothed? Am I going to be taken care of? Whenever in childhood, if we have a caregiving system that is consistent, that is present, and that is attuned to our needs, then we tend to develop what is called secure attachment. However, for example, imagine a child that is learning how to walk. When the child actually is walking and falls, if they are held, what they learn is not just walking, but they also learn that that they are safe, that their needs are going to be met, and that they're going to be loved. So the same thing happens when we're growing up. When caregivers respond consistently, are present, and are attuned to the needs, what happens is that the child develops a base of secure attachment where they can trust that they will be able to, there will be safety, and that they can explore the world through that. For example, when a child learns how to walk, and if they fall and they are held, they're not learning just how to walk, they're also learning how they will be loved, that there will be safety, and that their needs will also be met. However, when there is inconsistency, when there is instability when it comes to the caregiving, or when there is harm related to it, what actually happens is that our nervous system tends to adapt, and we develop what is called an insecure attachment, in which our bodies tend to respond from fight, flight, or freeze in our current times as well. What's really fascinating is that our experiences in childhood tend to play a huge role in our lives as adults. So not just psychologically, but also biologically. So the way that our nervous system learns safety or unsafety as a kid, it tends to map out or develop a neural pathway into how we will respond as we grow up. So it's like a blueprint that forms for connection and safety in childhood. Think about it. Have you ever felt in a relationship where you couldn't fully relax? Or have you ever felt that that you had to prove something or do something to feel that love? Or has there ever been a time where you wanted to be cared for, but were also scared of being vulnerable? These are all basically encodings in our nervous system based on our childhood experiences. When we look at the attachment through a nervous system lens, we're not seeing the attachment styles of anxious, avoidant, or disorganized as just attachment styles. We're actually looking at them as adaptations to survive. So for example, an avoidant attachment isn't just about not the person isn't caring or that they're not showing up. It's actually about when their needs weren't met as a child, they learned how to suppress them so that they didn't get hurt again. Similarly, for the anxious attachment, it's not about that they are clingy or that there is neediness. It's always being in a state of hypervigilance to determine whether there will be connection or there would be no connection. When it comes to attachment, what's also important is to know that it's not just about how we relate to another person, but it's also about how we relate to ourselves. When we have secure attachment with others and with ourselves, we tend to believe that we are lovable, that we can trust other people, and that our needs are important. However, when we are in an insecure attachment, what we believe is that we can't be loved or that our needs are not important. And what that does is that as we grow up, these tend to show up in our relationships, such as when it comes to boundary settings, when it comes to the people that we look for, or the kind of patterns that play out in our relationships. So how can we move through attachment wounds or attachment trauma? Healing isn't really about erasing the past or what happened in your childhood. It is actually about finding new moments of safety and connection in your current time. Safety through various tools of self-regulation, we can actually find or show or signal to our body a new sense of safety, which allows our body to go into a safe space of ventral vagal as described by the polyvagal theory. The way to do that is through the therapeutic process. In therapy, what we're doing is we're exploring, the way to do that is through therapy. What we're doing in therapy is, what happens in therapy is that we are actually exploring these patterns as well as finding new patterns of safety and connection. In trauma-informed therapy, what we're aiming to do is we're not focusing on where this pain came from or how it came, but we're actually looking at how you overcame this or what are your strengths while having these wounds. One thing that really helps is knowing that even with trauma, there are moments or glimmers of resilience, glimmers of connection, glimmers of joy, even if they are fleeting. And in the therapeutic process, our aim is to kind of expand or nurture those moments to build that sense of safety and connection. That can actually help you build a new path of connection or safety would be, number one, to rebuild your safety with the body. What really helps with that is self-regulation tools, for example, safe touch or breathing exercises that really help your body connect with safety and connection. The thing that can really help is to find relationships that are attuned and authentic in nature. For example, you can find that in a therapeutic space. It could be a friend, it could be a parent that you can trust and can be your authentic self with. Another way to work through this is to actually not just focus on self-regulation or finding safety within yourself, but also in moments of togetherness. So co-regulation can really help with that connection and support that you can find with other people as well. The way to go about that would be to challenge your own narrative. For example, your own thoughts in terms of how you view yourself or how you view your relationships. The last thing that I would like to say is that one of the best ways to move through healing or treatment is through celebrating the small moments of joy and connection that you may experience in your life. If you have any queries regarding this topic or would like to know more, feel free to contact us below.